Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land. Me and my buddy Dirty, even though he's not here tonight, he's still with us. We're going to talk to Ryan Tremblay again, and I am so freaking excited. Love this dude. Ryan, welcome back. If he was here, we'd be getting applause, but I'm going to give him instead. So
I love that entrance. Thank you. Great intro, bro.
Hell yeah.
How you doing?
So I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Busy. I picked up some new topics that I'm working on, and you know how I am, man. When I get those topics, I'm like a pit bull, and I don't let go. So
I'm digging it. So let's hear about it. I mean,
okay. So all right, a really popular cryptid that everybody talks about is the Gugwe. Okay. And I kind of felt like people were misusing the term Gugwe because it originates from the Micmac tribes, okay? And they talk about the Gugwe, right? And they always describe them as female. So I was going, well, wait a minute. Are you guys all encountering female Gugwe or what? And everybody I've spoken to that was a witness for a Gugwe said, no, it was a male. So that clicked in my brain. I'm going, well, wait a minute, though. If the Micmac talked about them, they were always female, constantly female. How are you guys seeing males then? You know, and they're like, oh, well, there's got to be males, right? And so I told them, no, because the Gugwe in the Micmac legends, they weren't Bigfoot. They were giants. You know, so you got to look at the actual oral traditions. If you look at what the Micmac say, they say it's always a female that carries a basket on its back, and it's taller than the highest pine trees, okay? So that would make this thing almost 100 feet tall. You know, and I'm going, well, are you seeing 100 feet tall Gugwe? Are you seeing King Kong out there? You know, so they were saying no. So you see where I'm going with this, Patrick, is things weren't lining up. So I kind of felt like, okay, we got to look into this and decide a different term to use because you're using an indigenous term, okay? But it's not lining up with what the indigenous people were describing. So now I'm doing the Gugwe studies and I'm showing people, yo, this is what they looked like. This is what they were talked about. They were more like the Zuniqua, the basket ogress, okay? So now people are kind of realizing, oh, so maybe we can't call them Gugwe anymore. And I'm going, yes, that's exactly what I was trying to get you to do.
So you get your point across. That's cool. So so many people were asking you about this. When did you start putting two and two together and figuring out this wasn't adding up?
When I started talking to people from the different tribes, because I have contacts from all over the United States, from all these different nations, you know, so I started talking to them and I got really curious about the Gugwe. And I asked one woman I knew, I was like, you know, you're an elder. You've heard the tales of the Gugwe and the Gugwe. So people are saying they're seeing a mandrill or baboon face type Bigfoot and they're calling it a Gugwe. And she told me straight up, Ryan, you're using the wrong term. You know, and I'm going, well, talk to me about it then, because I want to know, because I want to educate people. So we had a long 2.5-hour discussion about this stuff, you know, and she was saying, you know, we wouldn't describe them as baboon or mandrill face because back in those days when they were running into them, the word mandrill or monkey or baboon wasn't in the Micmac lingo. They didn't have a word for that, you know. So I'm going, okay, so people are seeing something, but they're giving it the wrong name, you know. So I'm going to start educating people that when you take the indigenous names, you have to make sure that you're paying very close attention to the details, you know, because if you just take a name, it's kind of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
You know, so, you got to know what you're doing.
So, and just to let people know I say Gugwe. How do you pronounce it?
I say it Gugwe because the original term Micmac is Gugwe.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm kind of going along the lines of how they originally pronounced it. So, you know, you can call it Gugwe or whatever the hell you want to call it, you know, but I think we got to abandon that name and think of something different to call those.
So the Gugwe, to my knowledge, and I'm not as knowledgeable on these subjects as you are, that's basically like a typical size Sasquatch, but with a baboon type face. Is that
they can be shorter than your average Bigfoot, and it feels weird using that term average when talking about Bigfoot. But you know, they're sometimes just as tall, or they're even shorter. But they got a really nasty attitude. Anybody that talks about the Gugwe will say, "Oh, they'll attack you, they'll kill you on sight," which brings up another question, though. if they're so hostile and so violent and so deadly, how are we having so many witnesses? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. That's a damn good point.
It's just like the dog man, because everybody will tell you, oh, if you see a dog man, you're going to die. Well, no, because we have so many witnesses coming forward that did not die. They're telling their story.
Yeah, So they go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
We got to roll back on the horror aspect. We got to start talking about the facts, the things that really do happen. Like we can theorize that Gugwe and Dogman and Bigfoot are all behind the missing 411, but we have no evidence to show that. So can we really say this is true?
So back to the Gugwe. I did see a friend of mine down the road on a trail cam. And when Expedition X came out, they're investigating, and they were thinking, well, the premises for the episode was the Ozark Howler, and
nice.
And that's what they came out for. But this guy swore up and down wasn't the Ozark Howler. He had, and I saw pictures of the tracks, and honestly, it makes sense, how he explained it. But they were in the snow, very, very visible, very far apart, big steps, but then there was little ones next to it. And then when they got closer to the house, the little tracks disappeared, almost like Mama picked it up.
Yep.
And kept going. And he eventually caught a picture on a game cam. And I've seen, and I know, well, I don't know, but I've seen several photos in the same spot that he showed me, and one has a face, and I'm telling you, man, it looked like a baboon looking out. It really did.
That's creepy, man. I mean, baboons are scary as they are, So when you think about a 6 or 7 foot tall baboon, you kind of go, "Oh my god, no."
Yeah, I don't really want to run into any of them. Period. So
I'd like to see one from afar, not so it knows where I'm at, where I can just spy on it and watch it do whatever it's got to do, and then quietly leave, so it doesn't chase me down. But I would love to see something like that.
Yeah,
I would. I'd be very interested to see that.
That'd be cool. It'd be cool. So, what else have you been getting into lately? Unless you got more you want to tell about the Gugwe or?
Oh no. So the biggest thing I'm actually focusing on right now is the Mogollon monster. That's Arizona's Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
And
that's
I've met a lot of. There's a lot of skepticism about the Bigfoot. I had some guy actually message me saying, "Oh well, you're crazy because a Bigfoot couldn't live out in Arizona." And I'm just going, yo, dude, did you see the wildlife we have out here in Arizona? Like everything survives out here. There's water, there's forests, there's food. Something could survive out here. It's not a barren desert like you see in the Acme Looney Tunes cartoons. There's actual greenery here. There's waterfalls, there's lakes, there's ponds. So Bigfoot could survive here. It absolutely could. If it could survive in Nevada, places like that, why not Arizona? What's so about Arizona?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting ready to go, because there's a lot of skepticism about the Bigfoot that are in and there's besides the Mogollon monster,
right?
I mean they've been seen, and everybody's got this kind of skepticism about just because it's in that area, it can't be true. And
it's very strange. To me, it doesn't make any sense, because we actually had Native Americans that lived out in the desert. Okay, they didn't have the luxury of air conditioning or anything. They lived out there. So if tribes can live out there, why can't the Bigfoot? It doesn't make sense that people are that skeptical about this.
Yeah, 100%. So, what have you uncovered anything like really intriguing since you've been investigating?
Yeah. It's funny. Like I was saying, that people doubt the existence, but the Navajo people actually have a name for Bigfoot, the Itzo, right? The Itzo means big god. Now, the Navajo, if you know your tribal locations, we're in Arizona. Okay. Mogollon Rim is in Arizona. That means the Navajo people were seeing the Mogollon monster long before we were. So that kind of lends credibility that no, it's out there. It did survive. It can survive. The tribes were seeing it.
So do you think that these Bigfoot that end up in Arizona, do you think they're there? I mean, and obviously just speculation, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have, more knowledge than, on it than I'm putting out. But do you think they migrate through the area? Do you think they're there all the time and just choose when and when not to come out?
I think some of them do migrate. I think you have the ones that come from like, Canada or whatever, and they just have a migration path. But I do think there are some that are permanent residents here, because during different seasons, we get reports of the Mogollon monster. During the winter, the fall, monsoon season, we still get Bigfoot reports. So I think there are some that reside here permanently, because why wouldn't you? The Mogollon Rim is so vast and the forest is so dense, you could live in there and not run into humans.
So I don't know a whole lot about Arizona, regrettably, but I really don't. So Bigfoot really tend to travel. And this is just my opinion. Seem to stick to waterways.
Yes.
Is there many sources of water out there for them? Because I would have to think that would. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Grand Canyon here in Arizona, and the river that runs through the Grand Canyon is the Mississippi River. So there's plenty of water there. The Mogollon Rim has lakes and it has streams and waterfalls. So there's an adequate water source. There's always water there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I mean, yeah, and obviously a lot of game out there. You got the mountain goats, or I don't even know if they're called mountain goats out there, but the goats.
We have white-tailed deer, we have elk, we have mountain goats, we got jackrabbits, we got hares, we got badgers, we got all kinds of stuff here in Arizona. There's tons of game out here. Even if you were to go and try to survive out in the Mogollon Rim, you could do it because there's adequate game, there's adequate vegetation, there's water sources. You too could survive. So a Bigfoot could easily survive out here.
Well, I highly doubt it, because I would fall down the cliff and die before, I would have the chance to survive. But that's just because I know myself.
Right? Just watch where you're going. That's what I do. Don't ever go out at night, because, you can't see those falls at night. So don't go out at night.
Well, that's why Bigfoot. Okay, so another thing. So I don't know if we talked about this before, but what do you think Bigfoot's ability to see at night is? I mean, do you think they're beyond? Definitely, I would think they're beyond our capability.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the fact that they have eye shine, I think that eye shine comes from the fact that they do have night vision. Because if you look at jaguars or felines, they have eye shine too. And that's because they can see at night. So I think Bigfoot definitely has that ability. Yeah.
Okay. And so I've gotten a few reports since the last time we talked about not necessarily eye shine, but eye glow.
Ooh.
And
okay.
And I've also heard, from people that eye glow would mean that they have some kind of self-illuminating eyes, and that would blind them. So I'm not sure what camp to go in on that.
I'm not really sure. I do know that some of the tribes, though, they speak of red eyes in the night. And when they talk about the red eyes in the night, they're not talking about Bigfoot. Those are actually evil spirits. So I do have to wonder if people are kind of confusing any spiritual encounters with Bigfoot encounters, or, dogman encounters, what have you. Because, I mean, a lot of tribes do speak of these glowing eyes at night, but they're not talking about Bigfoot when they talk about this.
Yeah.
So that's something that people got to start looking down that path, kind of veer off from Bigfoot for a little bit, and look at the spiritual stuff.
Kind of like, and I'm going to throw it out there, kind of like the orbs, because honestly, people see a lot of orbs, and then a lot of times they try to attribute them to the Bigfoot just because, and I'm guilty of this too, because I've seen one orb, but it happened in the area that I had my encounter.
Okay.
And So I didn't, at the time, I didn't really think about it. But then later I started, saying, well, all these other people are seeing, but maybe they're not connected at all.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just two different phenomena that you're running into within a certain time frame. And I can see why people would think, oh, I saw an orb this long after I saw a Bigfoot, so they're connected. But that may not be true, though. I mean, orbs could also be, spiritual energies, or there's a theory, too, that the orbs are created from Bigfoot stepping out of portals. So could they be connected? I think everything is connected in a way. I really do. Yeah. We just don't know what way it's connected yet. We got to find that little string and start pulling on it.
Man, so one thing I'm going to say is I need some more portal stories. Look, they're hard to find, but I've not ran into one yet. What's that?
Didn't used to be, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, you could find portal stories all over the place. I'm not really sure why there's a decline in the whole portals thing.
I kind of got a theory on it. I don't know. What drives me nuts, and I'm just going to put it out there. What drives me nuts about the so-called Bigfoot community is, if you say something that doesn't click with everyone, you're going to get attacked.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I hate that because, if you want the truth, you have to give people free reign to say what they got to say and not condemn them.
No, just you got to open yourself up to new theories too. I mean, just because you have it in your mind that, oh, this is what happened and this is why it happened, you may not be right. So when somebody is offering a different theory, they're not opposing you. They're just kind of trying, saying, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And I think people got to stop being so sensitive. I think everybody feels they're under attack. And it's not really attack. When you're out for the truth and you're asking questions, that's what you need to do. It's like an investigation. When detectives go around trying to solve crimes, they ask questions, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of doing too. So we can all come up with answers.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And sometimes you can get a question, but it seems confrontational. But
it does.
Maybe sometimes it's just because I had a guy ask me a question the other day. I had a gentleman on from India, Dijo Thomas.
Oh yeah, I know him. He's a friend of mine.
Oh yeah, cool guy. Yep. And had a great conversation with him. And so somebody messaged me, and he started asking. He's like, so did you watch his videos? Did you ask or do you believe about the evidence he has? And he kind of went on. And at first, when I first read it, I thought it was an attack on me. And then I was like, all right, let me reread this. He wasn't being confrontational. He was just asking questions. He just wanted an answer. So sometimes, I guess we can be a little sensitive because so many people are out there, and there are, and as well as I do.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot out there just being b-holes.
They just want to be jerks, and you can kind of always tell too, because they'll do that whole laughing at your post or whatever.
Yeah,
if they're laughing at your post, you can assume, okay, you're just being a jerk. But I think it's the mindset. I think that speaks to the mindset of the community, that people feel they're constantly under attack. We're not trying to attack you when we ask questions. We just want to know what you have to say about it so that we can kind of, discuss what really happened and maybe come up with answers together. That's the only way we're going to do this. It's going to be teamwork makes the dream work.
Damn, I like that saying. You better freaking post that and keep it for yourself.
For sure. Because it's not going to be one person. It's not going to be an individual that comes up with all the answers for Bigfoot or Dogman. It's going to be the whole community pulling together, working together towards a goal and achieving that goal. Okay. So we're not going to do it alone.
Do you think that'll ever happen?
I hope so. I really do. From what I'm seeing right now, I'm a little skeptical on it right now, but
Yeah.
I think as time goes on and people become more educated and they get to know each other, I think that's the problem too. We don't interact enough. I don't think people really know the personalities of everybody. And they think, oh, well, he's a jerk because, I don't know him. And, well, I'm going to think that. No, get to know the people and you'll see, oh, he's a genuinely good guy. He's just asking questions. That's it. That's it. And that's all.
Yeah. So actually, what you just said made me think of an interview I did not very long ago with Sean Forker from Sasquatch Experience. I don't know if you know the show. I love the show.
Know that one too.
So yeah, I love the show. So I had him on, and obviously, if you've seen the show, they are bare bones, flesh and blood. You know, think Sasquatch last, which I really agree with that. And but when I kind of backed him into a corner, I don't know if he considered it being backed into a corner, but because he actually mentioned it on his like next show. He's like, well, he kept beat me up about this the woo thing, and he was like, but the thing is, at the end, he had a great question. He's like, well, so what proof do you have that it's not one way or the other? And nobody has the proof.
No.
So that's why you have to keep your mind open for everything.
Right. Well, here's my take on the woo. All right. So what we're studying is woo. It's way out of the ordinary. Okay. We're looking for a giant ape-like creature roaming our forest. That's pretty freaking weird. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think when someone's talking about, cloaking or mind speak, we have no right to be the jerks and be like, oh, animals don't do that. You're lying. We shouldn't be like that. We should hear the stories and, talk to the people and get to know them, and maybe there's something that caused them to hear mind speak, because I do believe mental illness plays a role with some people. I really do. There was one guy that tried to convince me that he raised a dogman puppy, and I'm sorry, but
oh no,
you didn't. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to say his name because I'll be giving him credit. But
tell me. Well, I mean, you can tell me now, or you can tell me later. But
I'll
now
tell you
I gotta know.
Okay, so his story, according to him, when he was a child, his father worked for the government. Okay. One day, his father came home with this brown sack in his hand, and inside the sack was a dogman puppy. Okay. Kind of hard to believe as is, right? Well, he goes on to tell the story of how he raised this dogman pup, and it was like, his loyal little companion sleeping at the foot of his bed and following him through the woods wherever he went. And his dad made like Wolverine like gauntlets for the dogman to wear. And I'm going, what the hell?
What?
Yeah. Yep. So he goes on to tell me how this dogman killed like 2 Gugwe and 3 rakes and 4 Wendigo and 5 skinwalkers. And I'm going, damn, yo, you've seen everything in like 1 year of your life when all the rest of us are dying to see just one of those things.
Yeah.
So that right there, you can tell there's some kind of
bit of a red flag.
Yeah, there's something not right going on there. So I just kind of dismissed the guy.
Yeah. Well, after we get off of here, I want to know his name.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely tell you that. It's just like the woman that she tried to convince me she had a friendly Wendigo that would come down every morning from the mountains to have breakfast with her. And I'm going, no. Wendigo aren't friendly. Wendigo are not. If he's down for breakfast, you're his breakfast.
I was gonna say, in a Wendigo gonna eat her arms and legs and brain?
Pretty much. She's like, no, it's a really gentle baby. I summoned it from the netherworld, and I'm going, okay, I gotta go.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well,
so that's why I say there is mental illness that comes into play. There really is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But if you look at the stories, Patrick, if you really, really look at some of the stories and look at the photos that they're presenting, you got to go, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. There's a lot of times I say, oh boy. But, but then again, I also don't want to take the stage away from anybody.
Well, no.
I like to put people's, like you, I have all the faith in the world in.
Well, thank you.
Well, no, that's legit. I'm being for real. But there's some people, you get some stories that man, you want to believe it, but it just seems so far out there. But then
Yep.
again, I'm not God. I'm not the one to judge. So
Sure.
I try to give them a platform to say what they got to say. And if they
Yep.
got the cojones to come
The
on, yeah, and tell their story, well, come on, tell your
Well, so you're
story.
kind of like me. You're kind of like me. I always have that attitude of I wasn't there.
Yeah,
I don't know what really happened that day, so I can listen to your story. But rest assured, though, if something sounds odd, I'm going to ask you about it. And if they get offended,
yeah,
then they get. That's just the way it goes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a shame, but we got to do what we got to do.
100%, 100%. So what other things you've been digging into lately?
So I'm working on my Skinwalker book right now. I'm putting a lot of effort into that
Yeah.
Skinwalker. And I've been actually having a lot of Dene Navajo people contact me and they want to talk to me about stories of their encounters. So that's been
Oh,
really busy for me. I did not expect that to happen. To be honest with you, it was just like when I started doing the Skinwalker book, I kind of had it in my head of, well, none of the tribal members are going to come forward because they don't want to talk about this. But then I'm getting, messages and emails, and it's all these tribal people saying, hey, I want to tell you my story. So I'm going, yes, I'm all happy because
yeah.
actual tribal people are coming and telling me their story. And that's what I wanted to get. I didn't want to get just like these weird creepy pastas. I wanted actual tribal stories. Because I'm sure
That's
you've noticed,
cool.
Patrick, that one of my big missions with what I'm doing is to bring acknowledgement and respect to the indigenous lores, to the
Oh,
indigenous people as
100%.
a whole.
Yeah.
So I'm working really hard on doing that. And I think by getting their stories, I'm going to be able to show people, look, the skinwalkers, the Yinaralushi, it's a Navajo thing. It's their thing. So don't take it and retrofit it and make it yours.
Yeah. So, and one thing I do have to say, and this is not knocking anybody out there, but the indigenous people, I don't know, it holds a lot more weight with me,
Yes. Yes.
and I think it probably does in the whole, like I said, community. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, man, oh man, I I can't wait to see this book. What
Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm
when do
hoping
you?
it'll be done by October. I'm hoping October. I'm hoping and praying October. So it'll be a birthday
Make it,
present for you, Patrick.
yeah, make it the 25th.
Right? I can't believe we share the same birthdays, dude. What the
I
heck?
know, isn't that crazy?
We're
I
twinsies on the
know.
birthdays. That's awesome.
I know. That is awesome. That is awesome because not a lot of
Hmm.
people have my birthday. I mean,
Yeah. In fact,
close, but not the same day.
for that book, though, there was actually a murder case here in Arizona.
Oh,
And I'm going to kind of withhold the woman's name, the one that was murdered, because I want to save it for my book. But
yeah.
she was a nurse, all right, that worked in Flagstaff. And she was Navajo, the Dene person. And she was found dead. But when they found her, they actually found cedar branches pushed beneath the flesh of her arm. Now, someone came forward and said that he was the one that murdered her. So the cops kind of declared that case closed, right? But a lot of people in the Navajo community do not consider it closed. And some of the people that I've spoken to, they were saying that the cedar under the skin, that is a sign that the Yinaralushi went after her. And according to some people's story, she actually offended a shaman. She did something where she offended a shaman, and weeks later she was murdered. So I'm
Oh
going,
man.
whoa, was this really a case of
Whoa.
what? So
So
yeah.
so get the book and we get a lot more answers.
Oh yeah, I'll give
Oh,
you her name, her
I love the
age, and
teasers.
right. And she was a
I
young woman.
love the
She was a very
teasers.
young woman, and I guess she broke away from her tribe. Like she wanted to kind of experience the Caucasian life, and didn't want to
Yeah.
really recognize her Navajo roots, which is always sad. That's always tragic. They should be so proud of that stuff. But in
Yeah,
doing
I would
so,
be.
she did a lot of things that, a young woman probably shouldn't do. She got really arrogant and really cocky. And I guess she had a confrontation with a shaman from her tribe and offended this man or woman. And then a few weeks later, she was found murdered. So, it's like, oh my God, is this really a case of the Yinaralushi claiming somebody? Or it's spooky. It's very spooky. But the people I've spoken to, I asked them because they're Navajo. I asked them, what do you think? Do you think the guy that claimed he killed her really did it? And they looked me dead in the eye, Patrick. They're like, no, Yinaradushi did it.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah. Let me tell you, when I did those interviews, man, my blood ran cold when they looked me in the eye and said that Yinaradushi did it. Man, my hairs were standing up. I had goosebumps, and I'm like, yo, it got cold up in here, man.
You better be careful.
Yeah.
You dig in too deep, I don't want them coming after you.
I hope not. I mean, that's why I get blessings from William Nighthawk. He's a Lakota elder, so.
Very cool. So, and I know the Navajo are the ones that hold this belief to their heart.
Yes.
Are there any other tribes that really do, or any other tribes that maybe believe in it, but they're like, or is it just Navajo?
Every tribe has a version of the Yinaradushi. Now, that's not saying that they're exactly the same. Okay, so with the Navajo, though, this is something that they really, truly experience, and it's coming from their actual history. And if you look at their history, you can look it up. You can look it up on Google and even in library books. There was a time where these Yinaradushi were actually good people. They were actually the good guys, but it's more a Navajo thing these days. Like the Cherokee have the Raven Mocker, which is kind of similar, but it's different in its many ways.
I remember that one from the last one. That creeped me out. Yeah, that creeped me the hell out.
But yeah, I mean, they all have similar beliefs, and that's what really fascinated me, is that they have similar beliefs with skinwalkers, with Wendigo, and Bigfoot especially. Every tribe has its own name for Bigfoot, and there's got to be something to that.
100% there's got to be something to that.
Yeah, I mean, every tribe has one. Every single tribe that you can think of, every nation you can think of, they have a name for Bigfoot.
Yeah,
that should tell you something.
And what is it? And I'm probably going to screw this up because I'm not as educated in this as you are. But what is the 13? Is it the 13 Truths? By the first? Is it the First Nation up in Canada?
Oh, the seven grandfather laws.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep, and the 7 grandfather laws, like each one is represented by an animal. Okay.
Yes.
But when you get to honesty is represented by the Kiche-sabe. Kiche-sabe is Bigfoot. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you're mistranslating it. They never said it was Bigfoot. But if you go to YouTube and you look up the Turtle Island tribe, right? He did videos talking about the 7 grandfather laws. And this is the elder, the chief of this tribe right now. So when he's doing the videos, he actually talks about Kiche-sabe, and he tells the people, Kiche-sabe is what you would call Bigfoot. So he's saying Kiche-sabe is indeed Bigfoot.
So it's the 7 grandfather laws.
Yes. Okay. And that's something I would recommend everybody looks up, because it's beautiful, man. The way they give you little rules to live by in life. Dude, they have a way of doing things that you're just like, oh my God, that's so cool.
I love it. Yeah. So, man, I need to get you and my buddy Matt talking. He's up in Washington State, and he's getting in with the tribes up there a lot. You guys
very good.
Hit it off.
That's what I think more people should do. That's actually what I think more people should do, is start becoming friends with different tribes and learning their stories. There's wisdom to learn from their stories, and you might actually gain some truth, and you'll have a truth that maybe you're not ready for.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. There's probably a lot of truth in my life I'm not ready for. Yeah, there's probably a lot of truth I'm not ready for.
You'll discover a lot of things about yourself when you start learning from them.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of planning on a trip to go up and see him. And so he's white guy like us, no indigenous blood in him, but he's gaining their trust.
Yeah.
And they've allowed him access to places that people usually don't get to go. And he's been having some pretty amazing results.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't share it on air because unfortunately a lot of the stuff he tells me, he's like, you can't tell anyone.
It's not your story to share.
No, it's not my story to share, and he doesn't really have their permission to share it.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's been
That's a very
shared
big
with him, but and I know, yeah. And then here I am putting them out on Front Street.
Well, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not giving away any of his stories or anything. So
No,
you're
no,
doing
no, no, no. Yeah, no, no. We're. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get up there and check things out because.
I bet, funny thing is actually through learning from the different tribes, I actually learned from the tribes up in Canada that I have indigenous roots because they recognize my
Really?
they recognize my last name. They're like, Tremblay, that's a very big name in Canada. They're like, are you sure you're not of our tribe? Because that name goes way, 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 way back, Ryan. And I was like, well, I guess all Tremblays are related in some way. And one of them actually looked into my lineage. He took my grandfather's name on both sides and my family names. He looked into it and he's like, yeah, your great grandmother was Cree. So you are Cree. It's in your blood. You are Cree Indian.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like,
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I have any Indian blood. My wife has Blackfoot,
nice. Where's
but
she from?
originally she's from, well, she's from Rhode Island, but
Mm-hmm.
her dad was from Illinois,
Yep.
and I mean, so
Okay.
and I think it's on her dad's side is the Blackfoot.
Well, you know what they say: if you even have 1% native, you're native. So,
Well, I got nothing.
like, I'm gonna throw it again.
I'm one of them dirty bastard Spaniards. My mom came over on a boat with my dad. So
Oh no.
yeah, Irish and Spanish. I'm sorry.
Nothing
But
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with
man,
it,
I'll
man.
tell you what though, I've always respected. I don't know if I told you this story, but I used to like to arrowhead hunt. I actually still like doing it
Mm-hmm.
when I get the chance. But before I go out, I would I would I'd light, and I used to smoke cigarettes like you just lit
Yeah.
up, but I would
Yep.
go out and I would light up a cigarette and I'd give them a tobacco offering, and
There you
I'd
go.
just let the whole cigarette burn in the ground for them. And and I would always say, hey, please help me find something. And one day, this is kind of crazy. I said, I'm looking for something special for somebody today. Because I used to find arrowheads quite a bit, but you know as well as I do, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to find this, I'm going to find that whenever
Sure.
you say.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out one day and not not and not my wife that I'm married to now, but I was dating somebody else at the time. And she said, because I had a really cool arrowhead necklace that I had found,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, find me one today. And I'm like, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't
Yeah, you can't
happen.
say
Yeah, because I was going out on a Sunday and I was planning on spending all day, and I went to one of my best spots, and I'm like, all right, and I left them an offering, and I said, please, I'm looking for something for somebody special to me. And then I had a vision in my head of a small point, like a bird point, pink or purple, something
Whoa.
feminine is what I had in my head.
Right.
So, and I searched all day long at this place. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So I'm like, all right. Well, there it goes. So I'm driving home and I'm passing another field that I've never found anything in. And it's
Mm-hmm.
starting to get dark. It was like around dusk. And something told me, pull over and look, pull over and look.
Whoa.
And yeah, so I pull over and I walk and I start walking. It was a soybean field. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't walk 15 feet into it, and I see something underneath one of the soybean plants.
Yeah.
And it was a point about maybe a half inch long, pink,
Mm, no way.
perfect. Not even joking, dude. I can show you a picture on my
Oh,
phone right now.
that is
Perfect.
crazy, dude.
Isn't that
Whoa.
crazy?
Spirits
Yeah.
were guys.
Yeah. And that's how I
Mm-hmm.
felt. And I was kind of freaked out when I found it because I'm like, how does that happen?
Spirits,
Because there's a
man.
higher powers, spirits. They're
Yep, they
out there.
sense
They're
your intention.
watching us.
True. You know, you were doing something out of love. I mean, you were doing that for a girlfriend. You know, so the
Yeah.
spirits could sense that. And I think they thought that's a noble cause.
It
That's
was kind of
though.
cool.
That's really cool.
And that's a true story. I mean, to the point true. You can ask my sister Anna because I messaged her right after I found it. I was like,
That's so awesome, though.
Yeah.
I love when stuff like that happens. Because that's almost like an awakening for people spiritually when things like that happen. You know, because before they're kind of like, oh, well, things like that don't happen. It never happens. Well, no, it happens. It just hasn't happened to you yet. So when it does, that makes people go, oh, and you're like, yeah, that's what I was telling you.
Yeah, it was like 100% for me because it was like, I do this stuff, but I did it out of respect because I enjoy, you know, doing it. And I didn't want to disrespect them by taking their artifacts from where, you know, their resting spot was. So I tried to make amends by doing that. But apparently they weren't. What's that now?
They almost consider it a trade since you left tobacco. They're like, okay, you gave us tobacco, we'll give you this.
I guess. But that time really kind of freaked me out a little bit because it was exactly what I asked for. And I'm like, well, I mean, that don't happen.
No, that doesn't just happen out of the blue. That happens because something willed it to happen. So
that's pretty awesome. So
that freaks everybody out. When that happens, you're kind of like, what the heck? Whoa, this stuff isn't supposed to be real. And you're like, but it is real. I mean, like me with my dogman encounter, I thought up and down, I swore up and down, dogmen don't exist. They're not real. And then lo and behold, there was one 15 feet in front of me. And I'm going, oh, I was really wrong about this. They are real. Okay. Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
That's always a rude awakening, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I'm thankful I didn't have that with like the Wendigo or Skinwalkers yet. So I'm just like, whoo, wiping the sweat off my brow.
Yeah. So I had a story not long ago. The guy thought he had a Wendigo encounter. Or no, Skinwalker. He thought it was a Skinwalker encounter. And man, because they went and they were doing paranormal investigation. The Devil's Tramping Grounds. I don't know.
Okay.
I forget. I think it was like
familiar.
North Carolina or maybe Virginia, right around that area. I forget the exact state. Forgive me, guy, if you're listening and I didn't get it right. But there was supposedly this ring that nothing ever grew. And there was some kind of spiritual energy there from what they thought. So they were going there to do a paranormal investigation. And yeah, and he said at one point there was a spot between two trees that's kind of funky. They were trying to walk down a trail, and he's like, for some reason, he couldn't walk through it. So he ended up just having to go around. And so they start to leave, and things are getting thrown at them. And this is where I'm just like, I don't think it was a Skinwalker. I think it was a Bigfoot because he said it was behind a tree, had red glowing eyes, and it kept going like this, like side to side. And I'm like, dude, I think you saw Bigfoot. But his buddy, go ahead.
That's more like a Bigfoot. That really does, because Skinwalkers, a Yinaradushi, they're not considerate at all. They're not going to just sit there and spy on you. If they're coming after you for a reason, you're going to know it. You're definitely going to know it. So just don't do anything to tick them off. You know, don't be disrespectful or anything.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. But yeah, and that was another thing. It sounded like, in the way he described the whole thing, it sounded like they were getting paced out, having things thrown at them, trying to get them out.
Like when I had my Bigfoot encounter here in Arizona. Yeah. So because that thing was kind of paralleling us, and you know, we could hear its footsteps, its footfalls, and man, I was like, that is heavy, whatever that is. I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah. It's a scary thing to have to encounter. Because I know I told my story again the other night. Every single time, man, it gives me chills. Up my spine.
Well, we're raised to think these things don't exist. I think that's what the big problem is, you know, our parents always tell us monsters aren't real. And now we're learning, yeah, they are. All those things that bump in the night that you said weren't real. Yeah, mom, dad, they're very much there. People are seeing them. I saw one. So yeah, don't lie to me anymore.
Yeah, don't lie to me anymore. Well, I don't think my parents ever believed in them to begin with. That's why it's kind of.
My dad did.
Your dad did?
Oh yeah, my dad was a heavy believer in extraterrestrials, ghosts, Bigfoot. He especially believed in the Rougarou. He used to tell me Rougarou stories when I was growing up. And as a kid, I just thought they were horror stories, just, he's trying to scare me. But when I started getting older, I'm like, yeah, Dad's not just telling me horror stories. He's telling me stuff that he really knows about. Oh boy. So
did your dad ever have any kind of encounter or anything?
Yeah, he did. He did. He actually told me one time, because we were having a party. It was my brother went to a party and I snuck out with them. And of course, we got caught, and we had to go home and face the. And so my dad, he was yelling at my brothers, because they were the oldest. And he brought me aside. He's like, don't you ever do anything like that again, because I had something come after me when I was a little boy. I tried to do what you did. I misbehaved. And there was some kind of monster chasing me and my brother. So don't you ever do that again. And so I asked him, what did this monster look like? And he's like, you remember the Wolfman, Lon Chaney? It looked like that. So my dad saw the Rougarou when he was a kid.
Oh, that's scary. I'm guessing if it was the Rougarou, it was down in like Louisiana in the swamps, somewhere around there.
That's where he was born. He was born in Louisiana. He stayed there for a good number of years. So yeah, he was raised up on that whole Rougarou belief, and he knew what the Rougarou was. And so all those times when I was going out with my friends and he would tell me, don't let the Rougarou get you, he was being serious. I thought he was just being a smartass, so it's like, oh, you were being honest the whole time, Dad. Thanks for scaring me. There's 10 years off my life, Dad.
Yeah. Well, kind of like how they tell you around here, they call it the boogeyman. Well, boogers, wood boogers.
Yeah, he used to talk about the wood boogers too. So he believed in Bigfoot, so he called them wood boogers.
Yeah, that's the phrase around here, wood boogers. And the crazy part is I was running around in these woods like nobody's business when I was little. And my sisters, one had seen one, and one had been hearing one all her life by her house, but nobody ever said a damn thing to me until.
Oh man!
I'm like, why didn't you guys share this with me before? I decided to spend all night in the woods.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. See, we used to go and build tree houses in the woods and everything when I was a kid. And I didn't see anything when I was a kid, or at least I don't think I did. Because you got to remember, back in those days, I didn't really know what to look for. So I might have seen or heard something. I just wasn't aware of it at the time.
So, okay. So one time, and people are probably going to hate me because I've told this story on the show before, but I was like 13. I was like 13, and I'm in the woods, and it was in the same area that I had my experience at. But at that point in time, I had a little dachshund. And we were walking down a logging trail, walking down the side of the river. And we get to a point, and she just stops, and she's staring up into the woods, and just starts growling. Oh yeah, she's growling. The hair's standing up on the back of her back, and I'm looking at her, and I know like a dachshund's really gonna do anything, but still, I'm like, what is it, girl? What is it? And I'm looking up the hill, and I'm looking. I can't see anything. And then all of a sudden, she just turns tail, starts yipping like somebody kicked her in the ass, and running back. Yeah, running back the opposite direction as fast as she can. Then I got scared. So I turned around and I started running, and I could hear something following us up on the hillside. No way I was going to turn around and look, but I could hear it. And then I finally get back to where it was actually 4th of July is when it was. And our family was having like a little gathering at a cabin on the river. And I probably ran about 100 yards, got back to the cabin, and they could see the dog's scared. I'm scared. They're like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, something was chasing us through the woods. And of course, everybody's like, it was a deer. It was a deer. And
come on.
Well, I know that now, but at the time I was like, okay. I'm like, now that I'm old enough, I'm like, wait a minute, deer ain't gonna chase me through the woods.
No, absolutely
Especially
not.
when I got a little dog barking at it.
That's why I bring Duke everywhere I go. I mean, the minute your dog starts acting weird, that's a good sign it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Very good sign.
Yeah.
Time your
Well,
dog acts out of the ordinary when you're out there. I mean, that's what I watch for. I'll have friends with me, and my friends can get nervous, but people get nervous at night when you're in the woods or in a desert or whatever. So I just kind of blow it off. But with my dog, though, if he starts getting nervous, he'll show outward signs of nervousness. If he really starts showing that, then I know we got to go. Something's not right. We have to go.
oh wow. So has there ever been a time that he started like getting all agitated and something like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was during a skinwalker investigation, actually. I took him out, and I usually let him run off a leash because he's really obedient. He's trained really well. So if I call him, he'll come running back. So he was scouting ahead, doing his thing, sniffing around, chasing the rabbits. And as I rounded this curve, I noticed that he was planted, just standing perfectly still. His tail is up. He's pointing with his nose. And I'm like, Duke, come here, buddy. Duke, come here. And he's not coming. He's not even acknowledging that I'm there. And I'm like, wow, that's not like Duke. That's really out of the ordinary. And so as I'm getting closer to him, I can hear him whining. He starts whining louder and louder and louder. All of a sudden, his tail drops between his legs. His ears go back, and he's crying and whining like something hurt him. You would think that somebody like snapped him with a leather belt or shot him because he's all burr, 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 and he's running past me. He's not even staying with me anymore, Patrick. He just took off right by me. I'm like, okay, well, great. He just took off on me. What the hell, dude? So he's out, and I'm looking around. I'm like, what would cause this? I don't smell anything. I don't hear anything. So I'm scanning the wood line. I'm looking in the bushes. There's nothing at first, but as I turn around to go get my dog, I hear this high-pitched scream that sounded like a woman in pain. But it was so loud, Patrick. Like no human could just make that kind of scream. It was super loud. It hurt my ears when I heard the scream. And I'm like, okay. The minute I heard that, Patrick, man, I had rocket boosters on my back, man. I was out. I'm running past Duke. I'm like, come on, Duke, we're going home. So I think I either ran into a spirit there or maybe there was a skinwalker there because that scream was freaking terrifying, Patrick. It was not just a normal scream. It was like blood curdling. You ever hear something in a horror movie that sounds so intense that you just kind of go, whoa, you get the heebie-jeebies from it? All right, so that scream was like, it sounded like a woman's scream, maybe like a 20-something-year-old woman's, but it was so high and so intense that it just made me feel so awkward and so out of place. I'm like, what the hell? So I never went back there. After I heard that scream, I'm like, I'm not going back there ever again. I don't know what it was. I don't know what caused it. I don't know what its intentions were. So I'm out and we're staying out. See ya.
Yeah, I don't think I blame you because
And Duke,
even though
even when we got home, Duke was still scared. My dog was still trembling. And he was so scared that he was actually peeing where he was standing because he was so terrified of whatever we ran into there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, and this is not making fun of you, but you had a trembling Tremblay.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And that is not making fun of you. That just popped in my head. I was
locking my door, man. I'm like, man, I hope nothing walks in the door after us, dude, because I don't know what we're going to do. If something comes in after us, we're in a lot of trouble, Bubba. So...
Yeah, the day it happened to me, I was glad there was a lot of family back at the cabin because I was like, well,
yes,
at least I got some backup,
Right? Maybe they'll eat one of you before they eat me. Give me a running
start.
start.
Yeah, you're way big. At that point in time, they're way bigger than me, so more to munch on.
Yeah, I think I actually disappointed somebody too. I was talking to someone who's a listener, and he asked me if I actually ever want to see a Wendigo, and I told him no. No, I've never wanted to actually see one. I'm just trying to bring some truth to the topic. He's like, oh, so you're doing all this work, but you don't want to encounter one? Well, no, man, I don't want to be on the menu, bro. I mean,
no. Yeah, no. Well, kind of like me would I like to see a Bigfoot? Yeah, I don't know. The night I had my encounter, I didn't want to see one.
Sure.
But in the right circumstance, where I'm not pinned in a tent and middle of the night by myself, not armed. But the one thing that I don't think I'd want to see, and man, I think it would probably traumatize me for life, is a dogman or a Wendigo or a skinwalker, any of those.
Yeah. I mean, the dogman thing, it's not so bad, at least not in my case. You know, when I saw the hyena-like thing, it didn't traumatize me. It did disturb me for a while. Like, you know, taking out the trash at night, I didn't want to do it. You know, if I had to take out my own trash at night, I was like, no, I'm waiting till the morning. I'm not going anywhere at night anymore. So, but a Wendigo, dude, I would forever have nightmares, and I need years of therapy after seeing a Wendigo.
Yeah, I think I would too. I'd probably even quit the podcast and be like, you know what?
No, actually, that's a good topic right there, because I often wonder, like, if we ever discovered things that we study, what would become of us? You know, like in my case, Wendigo and Skinwalkers, if I saw one, would that be it for me? Would I be like, all right, you know what? I know it's real. That's all I need to see. Done. Have a nice life. See everybody.
Yeah.
I got to wonder that. You know, that's,
Yeah, I mean, there's I think for me, if I saw one, I'd be scared to see another one, and maybe
Yes.
that's why I would duck out, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe I wouldn't. I don't know.
I mean, it's
Because
hard to say.
it is hard to say because like when I had my experience, it kind of fueled me.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Same here. But I just, something that's terrifying though. I mean, if it's something like Wendigo or anything like that, would we want to know that it's real? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
yeah.
the reality would maybe be too much of a reality in some ways.
Yeah, because that's bringing horror films to life right there. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. I mean, that's why people that see the werewolf type Dogman, I think that's why they're so traumatized, because they see things like The Howling, An American Werewolf in London, and it's fiction to them. It's just movies. Movies are meant to be fun, but then when they see them in real life, they're like, "Oh snap! These things are actually in our world. Holy crap! My life will never be the same." So I can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, if I actually encountered, a dogman or a Wendigo or a skinwalker, I'd be, I don't know. I might be scared to even walk out my damn house. I mean, for real.
I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you either. I'd be like, "Hey, I understand completely, man. I understand totally."
So I guess you just gotta take it in stride and figure out what your mentality can take.
Well, I think it's also a matter of unlearning what we were taught. I mean, we were taught monsters aren't real. I think we have to learn that there are things that could be considered monsters, and they are out there.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to kind of brace yourself for impact in a way, that you can accept that they're out there somewhere, and one day you might see one of these things. So
yeah. Well, Ryan, man, I think it's getting about that time. Is there anything you want anything else you want to talk about before we get off of here? If there's nothing else you want to go ahead.
Well, okay, so I'm going to be doing that, research into the Mogollon monster. So if anybody's in Arizona, at all and you have any encounters, please hit me up on Facebook and tell me about it, because I want to gather as much information as I can. I've already spoken to some people here in Arizona as is, but I want to gather more encounters so that way I can present a better case and say, see, all these people are seeing Bigfoot in Arizona, so there's something here. Let's not ignore this.
Very cool. So do you know when do you have any kind of like idea when your book might be coming out on that? Or is it still just in the works?
It's still in the works. I'm just kind of gathering up encounters and information right now. So it's kind of in a developmental phase. So, but you look out for my Skinwalker book. That'll hopefully be in October.
Okay.
And the Wendigo book should be done pretty soon. I got to contact the publishers and talk to them about that. So the Wendigo book should be on the way, the Skinwalker book, the Mogollon Monster book, and of course, the indigenous folklore from all the different tribes. I'm going to be doing individual books for each one.
I'm dying for that. I'm dying
for. So many books, Patrick. I'm actually sitting there thinking, oh my God, how many different tribes am I covering? My God, the bookcase would be just full.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool. So, where can people pick up your books at?
Well, when they're available, I'll be posting links, so you can probably order them directly from me. Because what I want to do for the books is I want to be able to autograph them for people. Yeah. To kind of give that little thank you for supporting me, make it more personal. Maybe I'm even going to try to work on some prints, some artwork that I do where I can send a print of the artwork along with the book. Because I feel like anyone who supported me should be thanked in a more personal way instead of just getting a book and saying, hey, thanks. No, I want to give you the autograph. I want to give you something that I did personally to thank you for supporting me. So
that's, and I see on Facebook a lot, you have illustrations on there. Is that a lot of that yours?
Some of them are, yeah, some of them are mine. So, I'll be doing specific prints. Like for the Wendigo, of course, will be a Wendigo. Skinwalker will be my interpretation of a Skinwalker-based artwork, and then of course I'll do the Mogollon monster, so forth and so on. But I would really like to, be able to do the artwork to give to people so they have something to hang on the wall. Not just a book to read, but they can be like, hey, the writer even sent me. Yeah. Like you included.
I'm going to have something behind me.
Right. So you don't really just have you won't just have my book. You'll have a piece of art that I did by hand, and you got my autograph. So you're not just a number with me. You're actually considered a friend for buying my book.
Very cool. And you know what? I can tell everybody out there, this guy's a cool guy. And when he says he wants to be your friend, he's real. This guy's down to earth, real, Americana, indigenous, whatever. He's got it going on. So and I think it'd be real cool for us to do that Icebox show. He really wants you on there. And I don't mean to steal your thunder on it. You want to do the show by yourself. He threw it out there. He's like, because he's mainly Bigfoot,
right?
But he was like, he wants to know about more cryptids, and
nice.
I'm like, and I brought up, and this is how it got going, because I started to tell him about the hyena one, and I mentioned your name, and he's like, oh, I've been trying to get him on here. Well, I'm like, okay, well then I am not going to tell you the story. Like, now you got to wait for him.
That's so odd, though. Where has he been trying to get a hold of me at, though? Because I always answer my messages on Facebook.
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I've got his phone number, so I'm not 100% sure.
After the show, and then have him hit me up on Facebook.
Okay, I will do that.
We'll set up that show where you and I go on. We'll go on as buddies, man. We'll tag team it.
Yeah. Got it. Cool.
All right, brother. Sounds good to me.
All right. Hey, everybody out there. I want to thank Ryan for coming on, and I'm telling you, go check his Facebook page out. Tell him anything you know about the Mogollon monster, if you can. Yeah, please. And anything else you want to talk to him about. And I just want to say thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on the show again.
My pleasure, brother. I was excited about this.
Yeah, I dig talking to you. We flow like there's no go. So,
we do.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there. Just going to tell you, keep it creepy. So that not as good as usual because we don't have Dirty here.
Yeah.
There's Dirty.
There he is.
Yeah. Out in the woods where the shadows creep. I'm trying to find a legend that the people keep. Bigfoot's the name, got a story to tell. Footprints in the mud, can't you hear the bell? Whispers in the night, can you feel that chill? Bigfoot on the run, he's a legend, keep it real. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride. Like I'm on a quest, searching for the homie, you know he's the best. Got my camera ready, heightened senses on blast. Snap a shot of Sasquatch, legend unsurpassed. Eyes in the dark, you can't catch what you can't see. King of the woods, living wild and free. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride.